Hey crafters, welcome back. Today I'm coming to you with a tutorial on this pocket, just this pocket alone, and then we'll continue on with the pages. I just wanted to do a separate video for this so that it doesn't take too long in the pages. Now, I do understand a lot of you won't have the Elizabeth Craft planner pocket die. So I came up with some measurements that should help you create a pocket like this. Okay, so you can use a square die or a rectangle die to go in the center. A lot of people, I don't know if anybody, I know a lot of us do have dies, but then there are others that don't have those dies. So what we're going to do is cut that section out with an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to be using the Scotch Stanley knife, we call it. I'll be using a punch board, the envelope punch board, to do this section here, but you can use a circle punch or you can freestyle it, which means, you know, cutting it down on your own. All right, so hopefully I've got everything. My glue, I've lost my pin for it, so I'm hoping it's not dried out. All right, so let's get started. So for this, I'll just pop this on the side here. All right, I've already cut my paper out. So you'll need this piece to be, what is it, 5 1/4 by 8 3/4. Okay, then you're going to score it on 3 sides, so 2 ends and the bottom. All right, so make sure you have, whichever paper you're using, make sure you've got it in the right direction. Okay, so I'm going to grab my Stampin' Up scoreboard. I might turn on the light because depending on, no, it's probably better without it. Okay, let me go in a little bit, move it over. Sorry guys, I'm gonna kind of, it's so weird, it feels like it's on an angle. Okay, all right, let's try that. All right, perfect. Okay, so we're going to score that on 3 sides. So I'm gonna half an inch, and then half an inch. Now, when you fold these score lines, you'll see down the bottom end that you'll have like a little square part. Now you need to angle the corners on those ones. I'm just going to do that one again because it didn't feel like it's scored. Okay. Oh, sorry, that was loud. Okay, so you want to make sure that you've got everything. Sorry, light. I tell you, it's like almost like this just doesn't want to be filmed. All right, there's that part, and then I will open it up and go to that part there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to angle my corners, or what you can do is completely cut away that square. Okay, let's make sure I got it right. Okay, and then just miter it. Angle. Okay, so this is how you want your corner to look like. All right, and I'll just do the other corner now and move that out of the way. Okay, perfect. All right, so then we've got that where we can fold that part over. You want to turn it around and make sure you haven't got any pieces hanging over the edge like I have here. Just cut it away so that it sits nicely when you fold it over. Perfect. All right, now you guys don't need to cut out that center part. You could also keep it as a pocket like this. Okay, so this part here is the back of your pocket, which you will need. All right, that's the inside here, this back part here. Now this measures at 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. So I will just double check that. So 4 1/4. Okay, and by 8 1/4. All right. Then what we will do is we will cut out the center part. Okay, so I'm going to go by what I have on this envelope here. So from the top, you want to come down, I'd say 1 inch. So that's where I'm going to roughly go from, is come down 1 inch, and then I'm just going to mark it with my pencil. It doesn't matter if you get pencil marks, you can always erase them. And from the bottom part, I'm coming up 1 1/4, 1 1/4 inches from the bottom. Okay, so there's my 1 1/4 there. All right. On the sides, on either side, you want to come in at 1/2 inch, okay? 1/2 inch there. And I'm going to move it up the top as well because I can't see that line. There's my 1/2 inch there. I'll find that line that I've got across there and line it up with that. 1/2 inch there. And I'll move that over. Where's my line there? There it is, and I'll go 1/2 inch. Okay, and then down the bottom find that line, like 1 1/2 inches, and then go 1/2 inch. All right, so all I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to go straight across that line. Now remember, for me, this is a rough thing. For you guys, you would have to take more care in doing this. Okay, so there's that line. Then we're going to come across and meet those two lines. All right, so there's that. Now you can do it all the way down, or you can do it from point to point within that square. So I'm just going to make that just a little bit darker because I know that's where I'm cutting into. And you'll do the same on this side too. Just do your lines up together, and because I'm kind of on a funny angle, I don't want to be, okay, there's my squares there. Oh, did I go over? That's all right. As long as you know where you're cutting and what part you're cutting out, that's all that matters. Now you can use the paper trimmer for this. I should have bought replacement blades because it's much easier doing with a paper trimmer, but I am going to be doing it with the X-Acto knife, the Stanley knife. So you can see here we've got our rectangle shape, and just make sure it sits straight there. All right, so the moment of truth. Let me get my board out. Cutting board. Sorry guys, this is a bit grubby, this one. Oh, maybe I should get another one out. That's a smaller one. Okay. Mat number 2. The backup mat for the backup mat. All right. So I'm just going to grab my blade. Now, when you do your blades too, you want to make sure they're sharp, because if they're not sharp, they're not going to cut. Ouch. And on here, you pull the end out, and this is a little cutter to cut your blades down. Okay, so there it is there. Just be careful, because I've seen these blade things jump out, and you don't want to end up losing them in your craft room. So I'll just cut a fresh one, because this is Oh Lord, where are you? Okay. Just want to make sure it's angled right where I can cut it. I always get nervous around this, I tell you. Good if I could see. That cut myself. Did I do that before? Ah. Okay. That's so weird. Okay, now I heard that go in the rubbish bin there. That is some scary stuff. I hate blades. All right, so I've got a new blade on there, so be careful. It is very, very sharp. So I'm just going to go this end. I'm going to go from corner to corner there and try and keep it as straight as I can. Now, if you need to do a couple of passes, do a couple of passes. Just be very gentle with it, because if you miss, you have to start all over again. So what I would recommend is, if you're just getting used to your X-Acto knife, maybe do it on a scrap piece of paper first. So you're not wasting your designer paper, just so you can get comfortable with your knife. Okay. Do that part? No. Okay. Hopefully I've got mine all the way through, which I nearly have, but not quite. So I'm just going to go along with that. Perfect. And that's done, and that is not quite done. There we go. Okay, at this point you can use your eraser to get all the lines, and you can get your edges inked as well on the inside. Okay, get that done. This is so cute. All right. Okay, that's going to have to do for me, because I don't want to spend the whole time erasing out lines. All right. So, like I said, what you can do now is use your ink, your sponge the inside of it and the outside, which we are going to go along. All right, now the next thing you want to do is grab your acetate sheet. Now all I done was cut mine out at 4 by 8. Okay, so 4 by 8. Now, before we do this, sorry guys, before we do this, what you'll need to do is cut out your notch. So you might need to cut your acetate down. So let's do our notches. Like I said, I'm going to use my envelope punch board, and I'm just going to go along and cut out notches. So I'm going to keep that closed, and I know where I go along here, and just move it around slowly. Okay. Now, if you've got a punch that you want to do, use, or, you know, anything like that, then by all means, you can do that. This is just a way, another way you can do it to get a similar look of that top part here. Okay. So, I'll keep on going across. Now, you'll get a lot of little rough edges, and I'm fine with that. What you can do is cut it off. So I'll just get my scissors, and I'm just going to trim off those little rough edges, and then it gives me a smoother surface on there. And I'll go in this way and trim off that edge too. Okay, perfect. And then what we'll do is we'll ink that side. All right, so now the acetate, I will need to cut that down. Okay. So the height of it is going to change. I want to probably cut it down to, what have I got, 8, so 7 3/4, so 4 by 7 3/4 you want to cut your acetate, depending on what punch you're using, if you use any punches. Okay, so I am just going to, you probably won't be able to see it on here, but I'm going to use my score tape and go along the edges. See if I can find it. There it is. Okay, so I'm just going to go along the edges with my score tape. You can go along the edges with glue, totally up to you. Just make sure you can actually see it. That's the only thing I would say to you. Make sure you can see where your edges are, because acetate obviously is clear. And I'll do this and this, and that's all you will need to do. Okay, then I'll just move everything away, and I know I've got that sitting towards me at the moment. It's easier for me to take off. Then I will just line it up inside here, line it up with the bottom. Make sure you can close it. Don't go too close to the score lines because you might not be able to close it up. Make sure you can. And I should have gone back a little bit further, but that's okay. I can trim. Oh, it's just a smidge which I have to trim. That's all good. Didn't go back far enough on one side. I'm just going to lift that up and finish that baby off. Okay, perfect. All right, so we have now made our pocket. Okay, and then all you want to do is put your back piece on it. So you can use your score tape or you can use glue. Now let's see if my glue will come out because I didn't have a pin in it. I can't believe I lose these pins. Okay. And I did have a pin dangle that I made for it, and do you think I could find it? No. All right, so I'm just going to do rough gluing down. All right, hopefully line it up enough so that it's somewhat okay. There we go. So we've got our backing on and we've got the front there. Just get your bone folder and fold it down. Like I said, get your acetate straight, otherwise it's going to go all wonky. And that's the other pocket that we, that's the Elizabeth Craft one. That's the one that we handmade. Like I said, not a lot of people will have the square dies, the rectangle dies, or what have you. So this is another way of cutting it out, okay? Or you can use scissors to cut out that section, totally up to you. Alrighty, thanks again, guys, for watching. Stay tuned for page 2, side A. Thank you. Bye.